Hello, we are live.
I mean, ask me that. I knew what you were doing.
We are live.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Start over.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Good.
We have the Poly Pimps here. My name is Me Too. Sky will be joining us in a few minutes. Just running a little bit late because of life. Tonight we will have two couples joining us for Poly Talk with the Poly Pimps. If you haven't yet, please follow us. Um, we will have that merged page like we promised. We are still working on that, but remember to follow us individually as well. Sky Juice, Hey D, and Polly Haitian Hottie on Instagram. And then you can like my page on Facebook, Air Me Too Charles. Hey Spellman. So we are happy to have you. We have uh, Kevin and Julie on here tonight. We are waiting on our other guest. It's another couple. We wanted to do this couple edition so they can give us their perspective because a lot of people don't believe that couples are really into it or that both parties are benefiting from being polyamorous. So we just wanted to bring people in that have been polyamorous for a while. Even if they were new, that would not be a problem. Hey, Sata. Um, so, so basically, that's it. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
All right. So I don't really want to start the whole conversation before the other guests get here. Um, but so it's summertime officially.
Officially today. Today was the longest day of the year.
Oh, I don't know if I felt it.
The summer solstice. Yeah, the weather
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
behave, but it is the
But
summer solstice.
yeah. All right, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and start. It's about 3 minutes in. I think Sky will be joining in just a few minutes. I don't know if we want to wait maybe a couple more minutes for the other guests to join in. We'll give it a couple more, and then we'll start. Um, all right,
You're the host.
Abdullah. Hello, Abdullah. How are you?
Hey, how are you? How's
I
everybody?
am great. We are good. We have Julie and Kevin on here, and then
AKA warm
the
and fuzzy.
fuzzies. Yes.
That's right.
What is it? AKA what?
Warm and fuzzy.
Warm and fuzzy. Okay.
Warm and
That's
fuzzy.
Kevin and what's Julie?
Julie. Mhm.
Julie. Okay. Yeah. Kelly will be signing on in a second.
Okay. All right. So welcome
Let me.
again. It's good to have you back for a second time, even the last time was just a little taste.
Thank you.
So tonight we basically wanted to talk to couples who are polyamorous. And I know last time you had a lot of wisdom for us, Abdullah, but we are ready tonight for a nice conversation. And like we're telling people, it is not an interview. This is just a conversation around the table. It's just we can't be all in the same room. So we are online with a virtual table. So if you guys want to go, well, you've already introduced yourself. Since we're still waiting on Kelly, um, I would like to start with Kevin and Julie. Um, Tell us a little bit about yourselves, how you came to be polyamorous, how your journey started, how it's been, and then we'll go into the other details like challenges and the great joy of polyamory.
All right. Well, so I'm getting that look like I better start it off. Um, our journey was very unintentional, and it started off with really health challenges from the time that our youngest daughter was born 18 years ago. And Julie experienced a lot of challenges from preeclampsia and what we call HELP syndrome with the pregnancy. She had a very difficult pregnancy. Our youngest daughter, Sydney, was born with, she was premature, and HELP syndrome stands for hemolysis, elevated liver, lower platelets. And we didn't know pretty much what that was either, but we know that it challenged her life. She spent over 2.5 months in the hospital, and I took Sydney home after a month. She was born as a preemie, and there was she didn't, well, Julie never came home from the hospital. We took her straight to rehabilitation. And rehabilitation, because of the amount of time that she spent in the bed, she had a lot of atrophy, a lot of stuff that needed to strengthen her and get her back on her feet. And I'm saying all that because we wanted to set up the amount of challenges that we had and a lot of the difficulty of not being able to be a couple and be intimate and be able to love on our daughter the way we did our first child. And so it came to a point down the line where even after she came home, there was still a lot of challenges for her. And she pretty much told me if I felt like I wanted to go and have a pass, weekend pass, whatever you call it. I don't remember the terminology, that I should go ahead and do so.
Okay.
Right? Please do.
Yeah,
She had something to say.
that's pretty much the gist of it. I did have a lot of
Hall pass. I was thinking as well. Hall pass.
Hall pass.
Sorry, Julie.
Hall
Thank
pass. Yes, thank you. I knew that was.
although that was brought up, Kevin didn't act on that, so we didn't start this journey till some years later, many years later. And I think a lot of polyamory people sometimes start the route of going into looking into being a swinger and all of that. And we went in that direction for a moment. I was not there very long. Kevin continued, and he then realized that it was not very fulfilling. Am I correct? Okay. Yes. So that's not what I was looking for. I wanted exactly what polyamory does provide and give us now, which is true companionship and honesty, above board communication. Being a swinger I wasn't interested in that, and Kevin eventually didn't find that fulfilling either.
Yep.
So we did meet a couple who was new on the journey as well. So we are still friends with them now. They have children. We have children the same age, and we just kind of explored the journey together, but not necessarily with them. But we are still very good friends with them. So, we haven't had a lot of challenges in being polyamorous. It's a ebb and flow, I guess, in relationship to, when I have partners, he may not have partners. He has partners, I may not have partners. So we don't really have a lot of issues. Our children know, we did go through when would we tell them. They're older now. We told one before we told the other. Our parents know. My sister knows. Anyone that is close to us knows. Anyone outside of that, it's not really their business. If you happen to see me, you see me. Hey, you're not getting ready to go tell something that he doesn't already know, because he already knows, and so do I. So
Okay.
it's been a pretty good journey, actually.
That it sounds like it. Thank you for sharing with our audience. So we're gonna move on to Kelly and Abdullah. So Kelly, you came in a little bit later. Basically, we're just asking how y'all's journey been and how you came about polyamory. We can't hear you.
Who's going first?
Okay.
We
Well,
can.
you can, I can, whatever. So I'll say this. When Kelly and I first met, we met at a mutual place, and our example, I don't know if it's the same model or whatever. I don't know if there are models or whatever. But I guess we would be very young in the approach, the idea, the words, the what goes along with that. Is intimacy. We're in the same house today. This is a dynamic of our relationship. We're in the same house today. We're not on the screen at the same time, because a lot of times I am away. I am out of town. I work a lot away. I have long-term engagements. Sometimes I'm home. The last time I came in, I was in for a day. Um, and so some of our dynamic is based around that. Sometimes people, when they hear polyamory, it's sexual right from the beginning. They think it's sex only. That's what it is. That's what you're talking about, and it's not necessarily that. We both have had relationships prior to us. Of course, we have children. I have I've invited my children on here. They're older. Matter of fact, there's an age difference between us. I'm 61, Kelly's 40, whatever. I'm like 18 years older than her. I have a daughter 1 year older than her. They found out, she was like, oh, all this time I thought you would. Da, 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 da. So our relationship is still young and blooming. So it's fostered around the idea, and the practice early on. Now there's been some adapting along the way. Early on, it was like, well, if it wasn't a rule. It was basically like, if you do something, I don't want to know, and the other one was like, if you do something, I do want to know, right? So it was based on that. I'm not going to say who was who, because that it doesn't really matter.
Right.
But one wanted to know and one didn't want to know. Okay, so and as this grew, and as we got more information, and as we, some investigations and everything into the polyamorous lifestyle, we looked at it as many relationships. Like I said, I have children. I have my children's mothers were invited on here, past relationships. And because we approached it that way, we were able to get to like past relationships. Kelly has developed relationships with some of my so-called, there are no exes in my mind, in my thinking. You know what I'm saying? There are no exes. So, and that's fostered so many different relationship dynamics down the way. It's like it would be hard to talk about how many things. I mean, healthy relationships, healing. I was introduced to that word this week. Sky said it, healistic. So our relationship is based around healistic, not just being holistic, but healistic. So that said, I'm gonna give word to Kelly right now, so she can add on and jump right in.
Hey there, good people. How are you all this evening?
Hey,
Good,
Kelly.
good.
First, I want to say thank you so much for inviting us and allowing us to be on this platform to express ourselves and to be amongst the conversation. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
And so, just like Abdullah expressed, like our relationship is still young, right? And so I never heard the word polyamory until maybe about 2 years ago. I just recently had a conversation with um, one of our children, Abdullah's daughter, and we were sitting in the kitchen, right? And she said that her dad set her down and told her at the age of maybe about 6 or 7 that she will come across and meet multiple women from all walks of life, and it was so profound when I heard that, because we were able to tap into like a deeper conversation as it relates to having multiple loves, as it relates to the journey getting here to polyamory, and I'm like, okay, I'm one of those women, women from all walks of life,
Mm-hmm.
educated women, women from the street, women from just different backgrounds,
Mm-hmm.
and so this is new for me. I just told Abdullah not too long ago that he's been like that since I've met him, a free spirited type of person, and I am too. I'm just finding out some things about myself as it relates to um, the freedom to be open, honest, and being able to communicate with a partner, because I didn't have that prior to getting here. Prior
Mm-hmm.
to my marriage with Abdullah, I did not have that. And so we came right into our relationship being honest with each other. And so during my research with polyamory, that's one of the principles that come along with it, being honest and being able to communicate with each other. So I'm like, damn, hands down, I can do this, because that's who we are by nature, honest, and we communicate. We tell each other everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for sharing. I mean, to tap into what you said, it's polyamory. A lot of people have, it's a challenge for a lot of people, because that dishonesty a lot of times can be so ingrained in us because of the previous cultures that we were taught, that it may feel weird for some people to be open about, I have feelings for somebody else, because it's a big no-no. It's very frowned upon in our society. So for
Mhm.
some people, they want to be able to express it, but they still feel kind of weird expressing that, I may love somebody else as well. That doesn't mean that I love you less, but I have feelings for somebody else that I would like to explore. And also transparency. That's one of the biggest thing in polyamory: transparency and communication. Working on yourself, working on who you are as a person outside of your partner, because we don't know how to be independent of our partners because of our culture. So oftentimes people find it very, very challenging to follow those things. Oh, I'm like, why am I going dark? So yeah. So one question for the room, and then you guys can answer one by one. You can choose who comes up first. So, what has been one of the biggest challenges in you living as a couple polyamorously, like, as far as, like you said earlier, Julie, like if somebody sees you, they may kind of like, okay, like what is she doing, kind of thing, especially for women. A lot of times, I don't know, for some reason it's expected of men, if they see you out with somebody, they may be like, okay, I see you. But for a woman, it's even worse. So what has been one of the challenges, or even several challenges, that you've encountered in being open? Because many couples, they may be polyamorous, but in the background nobody knows about it. You should not talk about it. If anybody asks, you're supposed to lie or not say anything. So what's been your experience, and what's been some challenges?
Well, I would say that trying to be open, well, actually, I would say more of our family, and ones that and we chose to not hide this, particularly in our family circle, which both we come from both close family knit close knit families, and we felt it necessary to let our parents know. My father's no longer with me, but my mom, her parents, and trying to get them to understand what's going on with polyamory, and how it works for us. And so that was a challenge, and to this day it still remains a challenge because of just how they are respond to it or want to ignore it. And by no means am I trying to get them to accept it per se, because they have their own opinion and all of that. But it can be a little touch and go sometimes. So
Okay.
Well, I feel a little bit opposite of that. My mom and my father have no issues with it. My father's very, very outgoing, just as I am, very, very personable. It seems sometimes with our different friend groups, we have this set of friends over here, and we've got this set of friends over here. And sometimes when I'm on the phone with this set that's not really very welcoming of it, they're like, "So girl, what you do today? Where you been?" It's kind of like a joke almost to them, versus it being something that this is how we live our lives. We've been doing this for 14, 15 years at this point. It's not getting ready to change. It's not a joke. And I think they kind of see it as a joke. And then we have separate
or a
friends.
phase.
Mhm.
Or a phase.
Or a phase.
Yeah.
We're about 15 years in. I think we've phased in. We're
2000.
not about to phase out. So I think I think it's a little opposite in relationship to what Kevin was saying as far as our friend sets go. Whenever I have the opportunity at some point, I'm going to let somebody know, a new friend. Well, let me tell you, I'm da 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 da. And this is da 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 da. I go on and tell them right off the bat. And of course, they have all these different questions. And sometimes I'll say, go ahead and look it up and then come back to me so I can tell you what it's not. I said, you're reading about it and I'm firsthand. So just ask me what that looks like for us.
Right.
Because it doesn't look the same for everybody.
Right.
Exactly. Okay. Thank you. Abdullah, you want to go first? Kelly? Hey, welcome, Sky.
Hey.
Hey, Scott.
Hey Sky, how are you? So
Good.
for me, it's more of judgment from friends, because when someone have not been exposed or have seen a model of it, or have no clue of what you're talking about, it's hard for them to even believe that it's real. It's hard for people to believe that really you really do live like that, like you really live freely out in the open, unapologetically, really. And I'm like, yeah. So it's more of judgment for me when I have those tough and hard conversations with friends and people that I'm connected to. They don't want to accept it. They say, okay, all right, if that's what you choose to do, and if you like it, I love it. But in the background is really something else going on, and they having all types of conversations in their head, and so for me, the challenge has been with other relationship women who live who are in monogamous relationship, and just don't believe in that particular like model or lifestyle of polyamory.
Mhm. One of the things I guess a challenge would be is when I look at past relationships and I'm not, and I hate to say that, past relationships, because they're a continuum. This is how I arrived here, so I cannot X out anything that happened along the way.
Maybe pre-polyamory can be.
Right. Okay, there. Okay.
Yeah.
Because you can know something, you can be in a relationship and know a person intimately, or even sexually may be involved or have done something with someone else, and you can feel it, but then sometimes you turn away, you ignore it, you ask, and then it's like, is that going to interrupt what we have because this happened? And just getting rid of that idea, it's like, it's like that's a long major journey right there, to just get past the idea that doesn't intrude upon who we are as a person, and as a couple, as a family, as a unit. And then that had to be a learned experience on my part as well, because like Kelly said, not having a model, not having the idea, and then the models that I may have had didn't really fit what in other words, if I could have this type of, if I could have many partners because of whatever religious beliefs or whatever, and then that says that you can't, that, I'm a big proponent on someone, look, if it's fair for me, it's fair for you. How does
Equity.
what does that look like? How do you say that? And then you're not just, y'all just freaks,
Right.
and then everything that goes along with the noise, and then I had to get past even the stigmas that I placed in my own mind, because when I looked at my relationships, and then I look at some of them and I say, well, you're doing the same thing. You're just doing it in further apart relationships, and it's like serial. I'm not saying it, and this is not a judgment call. It's just like when I get a chance to look outside of the scope of the way traditionally things are, and I get another look, it may sound as if I'm placing judgment on the way something is or has been for many other people, so you get a chance, just like Kelly said about monogamy. And then there's this word, what is that? ENM. What is that again?
ENM.
Ethical.
Ethical non-monogamy.
Right. See, what is that? I mean, what is that? What is that outside? People, that's like some names that people aren't even aware of, but they may be practicing that, and it's like by default, not by, because not consciously, but just doing that. Or serial monogamy. What does that mean? You have multiple monogamous relationships, but you don't stay together long enough with any one. So, and then that's like, hey, are you judging me? No, I'm just saying, did you look at it differently? Can you see it differently? Can I see it differently? So those are some of the challenges, just getting the language in and getting the idea across, so that, it doesn't mean, and then love and affection and intimacy, all of those things get to be redefined. It's not no one way to do that. There's many ways to see that. That's what the poly is. And I looked up the word, it was coined by the, in 75 or whatever it was and all this, but it was, this has been for real. The truth is people have been living this since we've been human,
Pretty much.
soon as the spirit into the body, if you want to go there and all that stuff, the whole thing. So, that's some of the challenges though.
I'll say this one real quickly. The coming into this lifestyle, and I think both Abdullah and Kelly, you would agree that it was amazing the terminologies that were there. It was a whole dynamic, and we it was actually kind of mind boggling. And you see all the books and the different things that have been written about it. But one of the things that I would say is that it does put a mirror, if you're serious about it and you're trying to grow, a lot of times that mirror is placed in front of you. And when that mirror is placed in front of you, you have to really look at yourself and be able to,
Be honest.
And to grow from it. Even if, particularly if you make a mistake and you're in the wrong. So I found, a lot of times with monogamous couples, there's a lot of hypocrisy anyway, because they're out there doing it without being honest about it. They're having side pieces, they're having, affairs and so forth. And then they're going to judge you about something. And you're like, what's the point here? And forgive Warm, she went to get our computer is going a little low on the battery, so she went to get a thing there. So yeah, it is a interesting time when you have to deal with your friends that are all trying to find out more about it, or even some of my male friends that they will come up and say, "Hey, how's it going this weekend? What's going on?" And they almost living vicariously through you. And that is unfortunate, but there's a certain amount of you want to keep a certain amount of your own privacy and not share and be make them live their fantasies through you, because they have an idea about, oh, there must be a whole bunch of this going on and a whole bunch of that going on. So yeah.
I want to say something real quick, and that is one of the ways in which I would say, and it's not a comparison, I'm gonna say my drive has been very high all my life, very, just very high. Now, and I thought that you're just supposed to, whoever you're with, supposed to match that, and that's not necessarily real. It's not necessarily, and it doesn't hold someone accountable to trying to match that. In fact, I've been in relationships where I felt as if they tried to do that, but I could feel spiritually or emotionally or mentally that it really wasn't what they wanted to do or even desired to do. It didn't mean that they didn't want me just as I wanted them and all that. So going through all of that, and I had to mature into this, being able to hear it and see it that way, because that gave me the exit. It allowed me to just like so-called cheat, because then being honest or whatever else, it was like, that you can't handle that. I tell you, so a lot of that went on. And so being able to come in and say, honestly, this is who I am. And then, so one of the ways in which that freedom was given was massaging. Kelly went out and got me a massage table, because I do these very intimate, very, some people look at it as sexual massages and everything else because of the different body parts and everything. And that allows me to be very expressive, and at the same time it's very healing, and I can say that because I've been with so-called ex partners, and then they told me that was the most intimate they ever felt in, ever. And I'm like, and because it wasn't sexual driven, it wasn't, what I'm saying? So, and that's one avenue that of freedom, because there's a lot of trust that comes along with that, to be able to massage someone and I'm I don't know what's going on with that. Okay. And then not violate that trust, not go into sex, not go try to use that as a vehicle to sexual, to have have sex.
Sex is not the end goal.
It's not the end goal. It's very. That's right. And so intimacy and all of that, and waking that up sometimes in some situations where it may not have ever been felt,
I mean, I had to relearn what intimacy was, because to me, as living monogamously, now I have to say I've always felt like I was always polyamorous, even in my teenage years. But of course, I didn't know there was a community. I didn't know the term. I didn't know. I just knew it was different for me. But I had to relearn intimacy, because growing up, I always thought, intimacy means sex. You got to be intimate with your partner. You got to be intimate with your boyfriend. I'm going to use the word boyfriend because that's what we used then. And for me, sex became 90% of the relationship. And then the 10% was whatever we wanted to put in there. So if somebody couldn't satisfy me sexually, or I wasn't feeling close to that person sexually, then that relationship probably wouldn't last very long because that's all I knew about intimacy. And with polyamory, I had to relearn a lot of things, intimacy included. And now I'm realizing, it's amazing how you can have a full romantic relationship with somebody and you don't even need the sex part. You don't even have to have the sex part. I can feel closer to somebody I'm not having sex with than somebody I'm having sex with. Some relationships are just sexual and that's all they are. And they're not any less than the person that I have this other connection with. They're just different type of relationships. And like you said, Abdullah, you hate to use the word ex. I don't like that word either because for me, all my relationships, they transitioned into friendship, into something else, into long distance friendship. We check on each other once a year, a couple times a year, but I've never had a relationship that ended and I couldn't even talk to somebody except outside of one relationship. So it definitely resonate with me. So like you said,
Stage.
and a lot of us are not
Oh,
ready to
excuse
face
us.
the mirror. A lot of us are like, it's so hard because nobody wants to do the hard work. No, I don't like challenges. Nobody likes challenges, right? We want everything to be nice and easy flowing, but every once in a while challenges are going to come up and we need to be able to like face them and learn how to deal with them and how to accept them because it's part of life. But like I said, most of us don't want those challenges. So we prefer being in the comfort zone rather than challenging ourselves. Sky, I know you haven't said anything since you came in. We've just been talking. Sorry, girl. Uh-oh, she froze.
She froze.
Oh no, no.
There
And
she-
there she
Warm
go.
and Fuzzy are back.
Yeah. Yes.
We can't hear you, Sky. We cannot hear you. Okay, she's gonna try another route. So yes, there's an echo somewhere. I'm not sure. Okay. So yes, welcome back, Warm and Fuzzy.
Well, thank you.
I love
I don't know what you guys went to do.
I know.
because
They're
it's
gonna blame
like,
it on
that
the
was a long
yeah,
wait.
right.
I don't know
They're
what's
gonna blame
going
it
on
the
here.
We should have put our nicknames up, honey. Warm and fuzzy.
What are
I
your
love it.
nicknames?
I love it.
What are your nicknames, Kelly?
I call him Hubba Bubba and Honey,
Oh, that's sweet.
and he calls me Butter. Because of my last name.
Okay, that's pretty cool. I'm still working on nicknames. And full disclosure, Kevin is also one of my partners. Where is it?
Yeah.
So we're still playing with names as to like what we're doing, but we just kind of bounce and whatever is gonna stick is gonna stick eventually. But so yes, I so have you guys, because I know a lot of times when people are studying polyamory as a couple, now I feel like my journey has been very different because I started as a single woman. So it's so different for me. I don't know what it's like to um, have to deal with a partner's feelings around certain things. Now, as I'm connecting with different people, there are different things that I'm learning about different people, and you find the person that's kind of like, don't ask, don't tell. I don't want to know what you're doing. I don't want to see it, and I respect that as well. It was hard for me to accept that first because it still kind of feel like I'm micro cheating, but it's also what the person can handle. And what I always tell people is I try to meet you where you are if I can handle that part. So everybody's allowed to be themselves. And so have you guys ever had the don't ask, don't tell policy to where I don't want to know what you're doing, and if then it changes the dynamic, it changes things. How did you as a couple navigate around feelings of jealousy, and what if you had you were intimate, you were sexual with a partner, like did you have a timeline that you didn't want to be sexual with that partner? Like how did that work out for you guys? I know it's a lot of questions I just asked. Sorry, my mind just kind of works fast.
Well,
We're gonna go first with the don't ask, don't tell.
Can you hear me?
Now we hear you. Welcome back.
Yeah, internet is on the fritz, but hi. I
You froze
Oh,
again.
no, she keep on freezing.
Maybe she's with Elsa right now. That's probably why.
oh, there
I
she is.
get
so
it.
there's a question in the comments, is polyamory about love or sex? That's another question you could add to the
Okay. Yes,
the
it's
list.
about both. It's about
Yeah.
both for me. I mean, it's you could it's whatever you want. I mean, it's called multiple love, but it's love and sex, you know. But yeah, who was gonna answer?
Well, I was going to say there hasn't been a don't ask, don't tell dynamic with us. I don't believe we were always. It was always we would impress that upon the people that we meet, and just say that, well, if
Hey,
this
Marie.
looks like it's going to work out, you are going to meet my partner. This is my wife of 26 years, and if somebody is going to be around for a while, it's not going to be
We have our own terminology for that too. We call it bringing them to the table.
Mhm.
After we have vetted them personally, if I met someone online or wherever I might meet somebody, I don't just bring them in to meet him, because I need to know first if this is even going to be something past X amount or whatever time period I give for myself. And I tell them right off, you're going to have to meet my husband. And then if they say, well, I'm not comfortable with that, then I guess I won't be dating you.
Right.
I mean, that's non-negotiable.
Right.
exactly. So, and there have been people that that you meet and you don't have to tell, because it wasn't anything worth. They were.
They can make it far enough.
Yeah, they didn't make it far enough. They didn't pass the vetting period. And so, I mean, I had something just recently where I was minding my own business, and some monogamous person decided they wanted to ask and inquire about certain things. And so I said, sure, we can go out for coffee. And when I finally told her what was going on with me, it was kind of a like, oh, well, I guess that's okay. And so I let it lay there and see if she was going to contact me back, and she did not. So it's like, well, I never, it is what it is.
And that's why sometimes people ask, when is a good time to tell people that you are polyamorous? I'm like, first conversation for me, because I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to go through the frustration of, oh, you didn't tell me, because I don't want people calling me a liar, because I'm not. So right from the get-go, oh, I am polyamorous. Do you know what that is? Are you familiar with the term? Like, what do you know about it? Because like I said, I have no time to waste, and I don't wish to waste anybody's time. So Abdullah and Kelly, do you guys have something to add to the don't ask, don't tell? Did you guys encounter that? Like, how do you deal with like each other dating different people?
I don't know that we have that dynamic straight out like that. It has been more of like connections, and I heard this word early on, because like I said, we're still young in exploring just what that means and how that's going to unfold. Because like I said early on, it was one of us said, no, I don't want to know. And then that changed to I want to know. So, okay. So, And in light of that, I don't know that there have been any interactions that have been worth, like you said, worth the conversation, even, and the vehicle, the way in which I'm practicing that. I don't. There are no names. There are no names, being spoken.
Mhm.
So that, and then when there are names being spoken, then it's okay, because there's trusted relationships involved in this, and so I yeah, I think that's where we are with that. I mean, it's like it's continuing to unfold, because the more information that we get about it being an actual lifestyle, we haven't even, I think, you're the first couple maybe that we know, couple plus,
No, the second couple.
Oh yeah,
We
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah,
we
because
met.
we went to a club once, and there was like multiple stuff going on, and we were like, oh my god, okay, but
A
and it
swingers
was,
club.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
and so we met a couple there, and some and that was an imbalance, because we saw right out that one was more taking advantage of the other or something. It just seemed like it was such an imbalance. One was inebriated, and basically was telling us a lot of stuff almost like right out. They were like, I was like, oh, this, so that interaction wasn't, that didn't set a good tone for, seeing it as a lifestyle.
Mhm. Sky, I know you were about to talk and your computer cut you off, and we can't hear you. We still can't hear you now. Nope, we can't hear you. Um,
But ours is love. Ours is love, to answer that question. Ours is
mhm.
definitely from a place of love. And if anything's gonna and because our sex is like, it's phenomenal, and it's like, so you can't, if something's gonna intervene, distract, divert from any of that going on, then that's that can't enter into that we part of who we are. Just, yeah.
Right,
It's been showing itself. That's what I'll say.
right,
Conversations and being honest. That's one thing that happens. The honesty itself negates people from the beginning, because they just can't see themselves being, they can't even believe you being that honest.
right, exactly.
Mhm.
Yep. Sky, can you try again? We still can't hear you. Nope, nope. Maybe try from your phone. um, so,
Well, I wanted to say something. This
mhm.
was prior to us needing a battery. I forget what the question was, but it had more. I don't remember what it was, but what I wanted to say was, when Kevin and I first started down our journey, or midway down, I told my then best friend at that time, and she had major issues with it. She thought, oh, he's making me do this. Oh, he's dragging me into it. And we actually lost our friendship for about a year. Um, I shouldn't have started it that way, because I was going to say something else. Um, there are a lot of people out there that are cheating. And when
Mhm.
you look at what we have, and then you want to judge this, but you're cheating. I'm not cheating. Everything, if he's out with you, I know he's out with you. You might
Mhm.
even call me. I might even call you.
Right.
I know. Do I know everything? No. Do I need to know? No. Do I want to know?
And I think that's where privacy starts as well, because just being honest doesn't mean that you have to tell me everything about this person. No, that you need to know everything about this person, because I think people confuse the line between privacy and being honest.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there is definitely a line.
And then you don't want to guilt or shame someone into feeling obligated to say whatever's going on. That, I mean,
Right.
most people, even in child parent relationships, guilt each other into being truthful. It's
Exactly.
not honest at that point. It's just
Right.
being truthful. And so when what's operating in the background is guilt, shame, fear, punishment, judgment, when that's operating in the background, it doesn't make the relationship, very, I would say, free. It's not honest. It's based on someone else's manipulations. So
Exactly.
that's what we try to avoid.
Exactly. Somebody has something in the background. I don't know if it's TV. It's a little bit distracting. I'm not sure who.
All's quiet over here.
Okay.
Our
Um,
kids are
We're
gone.
empty nesting.
We're empty nesting
tonight.
this tonight.
so yes, try Sky, you want to try again? Sky?
Nope.
Nope.
We can't hear you.
Nope.
No.
Yeah,
Well, it's not liking her tonight.
yeah, definitely not.
Yeah. So I also think so. I know a lot of the questions that's been asked sometimes is specifically for men. It's like, so they can see it for a woman. Oh, it's normal for a man to want to be with so many women and blah, blah, blah. But then as soon as the woman wants a male partner for herself, because of course they see a lot of times men see women as object of their fantasy. So they're okay with you being sexual with a woman, but as soon as a man comes in the picture, it's a big no-no, because a lot of times for us, the sacred for monogamous people, the sacred part is the penis vagina sex, right? It's the part that most people can't handle. It's hard for them to fathom that, oh, somebody's going to be inside you. How can you accept this other man being with your woman? What kind of men are you? So how did you guys face those kind of criticism and stigma being polyamorous as men?
That was a good question. It was, it could be a bit challenging. Your mind could take over when she's gone and out on a date, or even if she's has gone out of town, and you start thinking about some interaction between her and someone else. It can mess with your ego. It can mess with but as I looked at it too, I tried to have it be as equity. Sometimes if we've had times where, like she said earlier, where she was dating quite a few different people and having different experiences, and I wasn't in that mold. And I'd have to tell myself, well, when it comes my turn, I want to give her the respect that I expect she will give me if I show how I would like to be treated. So I try to respect that. The only thing that I had an issue with Warm going out was just her security. I wanted her to be safe, and that's kind of hard for me as a man to be able to not have direct control over, because usually she's with me, if we're out and about. But you have to rely on someone else to either keep her safe from outside forces, or she has somebody that she needs to pick that is going to be will be safe with her and treat her with respect that I treat her, and
Okay.
and not abuse that privilege or whatever. So
Right.
I guess can continue to be that as different scenarios come up, but
Mhm.
it was challenging at first. I will admit.
Okay. Abdullah?
Okay, so like I said, we kind of I don't know that well we did face this in a couple ways, and the idea that I had um, I look at it as what does this person bring, first of all, spiritually to you or something. And it's like if that dynamic isn't there, because for us, for me, sex and spirituality they're parallel. They're like, it's energy, and if your energy is for a notch on a belt, what is that going to do to you if in fact you have some other connection to this person and it's a compromise? If you're compromising yourself based on just a feeling, and you put yourself in that situation, and then because protection is very important. So so being out with them and having conversations, and a person, we have within us the ability to actually know what someone really wants. You know what I'm saying? Once we get past the physical part, and if you don't approach it if you don't approach this from the physical part alone. Now, if you do, and that's what it is,
That's
then that's
It is what it is.
it is what it is, and you know what? There's no explaining that. There's no, there's no excuses. There's no explaining. There's no need to explain that. That's what it was. So, the idea of that, because, we were met with that question before but between us, and it was like, well, will you bail me out? And we were doing some research on what model. Will you bail me out? How am I going to bail you out when you put you in there? If you go in feeling like that, then that's your call sign right there. Because and the more we're in tune with that, then the less problems that'll probably be, right there. But people are deceptive, especially men. And so because of the deceptions that most of us live under by default, women, I tend to hear, they tend to be attracted to what they hear, and men are attracted to what they see. So if you're, and so getting past those two, if you can get past those two, recognize it, admit it, then whatever you decide to do after that is on, it's really up to the individual. So,
Yeah, I totally agree. We're gonna take some questions because I know we're gonna be running over. So we're gonna take a couple of questions. Do the children know about this? Personally, my children do know about this. Now I have young kids. I have 13 and 8. The 13-year-old, we've had a couple conversations about polyamory. For me, the importance of them knowing is having choices. Know that you have choices. So when you make a choice, you make an educated choice, not making a choice by default because that's what your mom does, that's who your mom is, or making a choice because that's who your dad is or that's what he does. I want you to look at all the different options out there and choose what truly is for you. So I am very, very transparent with my children, and based on their age, I choose how I relate the information to them. But one thing, I'm not gonna lie to my kids. I will not lie about my life, who I am as a person, because I have no shame in who I am. I am proud. I love myself and I love my life. And I want them to be adults, healthy adults like that too, not being ashamed to express their feelings and express who they are as a person. And no matter, the stigmas, because it's the world. There's always going to be stigma around something, even though other things have become more accepting, but it's never going to be like free flowing. So you just have to decide what you're comfortable with. So for me, yes, my children know.
Well, our children know. And when they were a little younger, they're both, well, one's 17, the other one is 21.
Hello.
And we told the oldest when she probably was about, what, 14?
Yeah, 14, 15.
14 or 15. We didn't tell the youngest because she didn't really know anything about relationships yet, hadn't had any or any of that. But although it's important to tell them, they need to see it as well. They need to see it unfold. And the reason why I say that is because I had gone out with a friend of mine, took my daughter. We just went to go get something to eat. I had on a jumpsuit that had a zipper. So when I came out, I couldn't get the zipper up. So I turned my back to him and he zipped it up. And she said, well, why you didn't ask me? So her visual in seeing that let her know, this isn't what I thought. This isn't just a friend. And we shared French fries. And she said, well, why didn't you get some of my French fries? So the visual is just as important as speaking it and telling them so that they truly understand what this is. So yes, both our children know.
Abdullah and Kelly.
My children may be on here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good.
Some of the children are on here, and we have a 12-year-old that lives in a house with us.
Okay.
Right. And so she sees everything and she's very intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
Just I think maybe a month ago, me, my mom, and my daughter were all sitting at the table, and Abdullah ran into a high school friend of mine, and I haven't seen her in a while, and I haven't talked to her in a while either. But our daughter was with Abdullah. No, was she with you?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Anyway, so she ran. My high school friend met Abdullah at the supermarket. She said, I recognize you. I know you from social media. And so she said, you're Kelly's husband, right? And then Abdullah, but their interaction, Abdullah said something to her and they had a conversation. So I called her while I was sitting at the table with my daughter and my mom. And I said, your name is just coming up at our kitchen table. And so our 12-year-old said, yeah, that's how Step is. He interacts with women. If he sees someone and they are attractive, he's going to tell them, respectfully while he's with our 12-year-old, but that's who he is. And so she gets to look through her own 12-year-old lenses and see what she see and come to her own conclusion. And we have those conversations with her about what life looked like for us, how we live. She's exposed to a lot and she's mature enough to handle what we do share with her. And then so the dynamics of our children are, I have 2 biological children and Abdullah has 8. And so majority of them are adults. And there's only one that is under the age of 18, and that's our 12-year-old.
She's 18. Oh, yeah, okay, right.
One that's under the age of 18, and that's our 12-year-old. And so she helped us out. She helped me out with getting on here today.
That's awesome.
And so, she and I, we have our girl talk, and, she's a 12-year-old in her own right and have, male friends that some, her brothers are like, you're not allowed to have male friends. I wasn't allowed to have male friends until I was 16 years old. But we live in a different world, and so she has female and male friends. Majority of them are male friends. They go out to the movies as a group, so you talked about Miss Charles. I can't pronounce your first name.
It's me too.
Me too.
Nice to meet you. Me too.
Me too. Okay. So E.T. was talking about I think we can hear you now, Sky.
We can hear you, Sky.
Yes.
Oh, you can?
Yeah, we can hear you. You are on. But,
I was just gonna say Kelly sounds like a Baltimore girl.
Ah!
I can hear it.
You sound like you used to live in Baltimore.
For a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, Kelly, children are intuitive. Mm-hmm. And if you keep lying to them, they're not going to trust they're not going to want to talk to you or ask you questions. And then a lot of times parents wonder, why don't my children talk to me? Why didn't they tell me this? Why didn't they tell me that? Because every time they ask you a question, you flat out lie. So they don't trust you. They are very intuitive. So when they ask you a question, be as transparent as you can be. Obviously, there's a age delivery that you need to keep in mind, but you need to be honest with your children. So
Agreed.
we have more questions. Am I too late? This show is getting a lot of traction. I went to dinner for Father's Day, and most of the convos was about polyamory. Well, thank you, Rudy. We are happy that we are spreading the word. We are the Poly Pimps. That's what we do. We're out telling people about polyamory. We say selling, but we're not salespeople. But we want people to know that there are options out there, and that a lot of people feel stuck in their relationships. They cannot even mention to their spouse or their partners how they feel, because they know that they will be cut off or shamed for it, or all kinds of stuff. So people are out there living double life, triple lives. They cannot be honest about who they are and what they want, take care of their needs. So yes, that's why we are out here. Hopefully we can motivate and inspire some people to live in their truth.
I want to say real quick, because I guess I've been talking a lot, but freedom, really, freedom, the idea of, especially when it comes to really being honest and being truthful and free like that, it appears to be something that once, if you're given that, it's almost like it's too much, because you make your own decisions based on who you are. So who am I today? Not yesterday. What was governing my value system? What was my belief system? And letting go of a lot of that stuff. We can hold on to some things, but our own experience might be telling us something else. So I'm holding on to, what I look like. This right now, agoraphobia, right? I just, I'm beginning to understand that on a whole nother level, like feeling ashamed or embarrassed in public. If you know who I am, if I tell you who I am, all of those things come into play, especially when it comes to different medias and everything. Because this one of the things that Kelly said to me, says, this is going to be like viewed after live. This can be pulled up at any time. So, and the reality is our dynamic may change. It might look this way today and look a different way tomorrow. So that's what freedom is. And and that's too much for some people. It may, you may choose today to say, yes, today I want to have sex. Today I want to be intimate. Tomorrow I don't. And having that right and that freedom is just,
But also, we are people. We change every day. We feel different things every day. And it's okay. We want people to know it's okay, because we are human beings. We have emotions. Sometimes we run with them. So we're going to feel different every day. And there is nothing wrong with that. Just like you said, Abdullah, it's today I want sex. Tomorrow I may not want sex. It may not be you. It may just be me, but I don't want sex, or something else. I feel this way about you today, but tomorrow I may feel different, and it's okay. But we have that fear. We can't accept the changes that come with life, that come with people being people. It is hard. So yeah, I feel like I'm talking too much.
Not at all.
I have too much to say with the Poly Pimps.
I like that the couples here are living their best life.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I have a question.
Mhm.
You can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
What are your poly goals in your relationship? I mean, more geared towards Abdullah and Kelly, but I wouldn't mind hearing from Kevin and Julie. But like, are you do you plan to have other partners? Do you plan to, like, what is your, I don't know if you've answered this already because I wasn't
No.
present, but I'm curious.
I know one of my goals is for both of us to be equally invested into the polyamorous, lifestyle, living that way, equally invested. And so what I mean by that is like both of us coming to the table with boundaries, not rules. We have respect for each other, right? But being, just I opened up to this whole concept in, the lifestyle because of not being completely fulfilled in my marriage. And what I mean by that is because Abdullah shared with you all, he is on the road a lot, right? And so a whole lot. And so I find myself alone, not lonely, but alone.
Right.
Because there's a big difference. And so because of that, that's why, I'm open to having an additional partner, so yeah, they're my goals. Us, and as well as like happiness as well. Both of us happy in whatever other relationships that we have. My priority is, as long I want Abdullah to be happy and I'm happy. We're happy together, and the other relationships that he has, happiness being a priority in those relationships as well. So being equally invested and trusting. I'm being trusted with my friends and other relationships, and I trust him as well.
That's beautiful. What about you, Kevin and Julie?
Woman
Or
fuzzy.
Abdullah, did you want to answer that as well?
Well, I think she covered it. So
Okay.
I've talked a whole lot today.
And what about you, Kevin and Julie?
I mean, I don't think I have an end game to it. I know that there's a lot of facets to my heart, and I have a lot of love to offer. So I have a lot of relationships that are going on right now that are with here in my family, nuclear family. I have two daughters that require time. I have a mother that lives in our building. She has her own apartment, but she lives here. That requires time. I have my partner here with one of our gracious hosts, me too. And I have another partner. And I my goal is just to be able to be present and intentional for each person that requires my time and the love that I have to offer. So and just to improve on myself, to make myself a better person as we go along this journey. I too, just like Kelly, you say, I show compersion for when Julie finds somebody that is really that she is enjoying and is finding a great life experience. I root for her. I love that. What makes her happy makes me happy. It makes everybody generally in our own nuclear household happier. So
Okay. So one of the reasons why too we wanted to have the couples edition tonight was talk about hierarchy. So typically, like today I saw a post. It was a whole post about. It was a whole messy post, in my opinion. When I was reading it, I was like, "Oh, messy, messy, messy." But okay, so it was just to just summarize it, as a couple, a lot of times, because you guys have been married 2 years, Warm and Fuzzy have been married 26 years. So, how do you navigate around new partners? Do you feel like, well, if I'm feeling some kind of emotional today and he has a date with so and so, I just need him to be home to be there for me. Like what is priority in a couple? What is a true priority? And how do you go around hierarchy when it comes to dealing with couples that are already established versus new partners, new people that are coming into a relationship with your partner?
And I have an answer too.
Mm-hmm.
Answer it.
Answer. Go ahead. We haven't
No.
talked a whole lot tonight, Sky.
Okay. Well, I think hierarchy is trash. That's the terminology I use. I know there's going to be certain prioritization on when you live with somebody, when you have children, other family members, what have you. So you are going to prioritize their needs. But until you are a secondary partner, then you realize how shitty that position is. And that is when I realized that hierarchies are a no-go for me. Um, I don't really enjoy dating or being involved with married couples because as soon as I am vetoed, I'm out.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
I usually only date single men or men who are they live by themselves and they have multiple partners or what have you. But if you have a live-in usually prior makes it creates its own hierarchy when you have a nesting partner. So when you are sharing finances with somebody,
Mhm.
a lot of times that's a prioritization. And it's not where I am now. At this point right now, it could change. Um, I I just think that when you treat someone, the secondaries and the tertiaries or whatever the terminology is, they're always going to be treated as such. I mean, I dated a couple guys who were like, I got to go home to my wife. I got to go and check on the kids and all this kind of crap. And I was very selfish and I was like, what about me? I'm here right now. So yeah, it's hard. After I've done that experience a couple times, I'm not interested. I want people who don't believe in hierarchy, who are not hierarchical. Even I've dated some guys who are married, living with their partners, and are non-hierarchical. That would be the only case scenario that I would be involved with.
We're waiting for some answers from the
well,
couples.
Crickets.
no, well, I'm thank you for that, Scott. One of the things that I'm realizing is that just like our relationship, we're starting from a very healthy place because, when I say that, it's not like we don't have 26 years of commitment, but we do have the 3 years of honesty and trust and those values and then our relationships, all of the very meaningful relationships that we have, they've been involved in the idea and the building process. The very intimate relationships starting off with just not having exes and the jealousies, the envy and everything that come from having a a longer time commitment with someone over time. Like my children's mother, we've known each other since 16. I have two different mothers of my children. So Kelly has met both of them and embraced them. They've embraced her. We've been in their homes And so the normal things like jealousy, envy, all of those things, the distrust, all of that is being pushed away. So when it comes to saying, hey, I'm interested in somebody, I'm having a conversation, have it, because our connection spiritually and as far as principles are such that it's I don't want to violate that, and nor does she want to violate that. So and as we adapt, like I said, as we adapt and adjust, because and we're at a different place. Just I think it was last week, it was almost like Kelly said, you've been doing this a long time. And I was like, I thought you knew. In other words, like, you've been living like this, and I thought we were living like this. You know what I'm saying? Because you can be a part of the conversation, but the application becomes different when you now say, hey, I'm looking at doing this. I'm looking at a connection. I see a connection. And it's like, where is this coming from? And having the freedom to be able to do that and not be judged is very important, because sometimes I think we have adopted some innate jealous embarrassments, guilt, and shame ridden thinking and ideas that most people put themselves in check before they even investigate what something is. It's
So
like,
do you guys believe in a hierarchical relationship, or if someone were to come into your relationship, would they have an equal?
oh, I see where that's going. I mean, right from the
So when
beginning,
you think
how could
about
it be equal?
so because of like the definition as it relates to hierarchy, right? So you have a couple, they are paying, as you said, it's got paying bills together, they have children together, they have a home together, right? It has been my experience thus far that I am there. No one is here and I'm there, or I'm there and anyone is here. Mm-hmm. And this is how I know. Because if Abdullah say that he is going to meet with one of his friends, right? I don't question him. We if when he come back and we may or may not have a conversation about it, so I don't know, I don't feel like that's necessary, although we have those dynamics,
right. Right. Well, where it becomes a problem when someone from the outside, who doesn't live in the house, who is seeing one of you, is made to feel less than because they don't have the privilege of keys and the bills and the health insurance and those things. So, and then also the bigger problem is the vetoing. So the fact that, like what Me Too was saying earlier, is like, you had a hard day at work, you got written up or whatever the situation is, and it was like drama, and you're feeling really down. But Abdullah already made plans to go out with such and such, right? And you like call him and like, I really need you here right now. He's going to go through this like, what am I going to do thing, because you need me. You're in an emotional place where you need me to console you and be there for you. But I also made plans with such and such. What do I do? What is okay? Because such and such is ready for the event or whatever it is. And so it becomes, that is what happens in a lot of the situations out here in polyamory, because, and that's happened to me where, I don't even want to tell you the whole story because I just get upset thinking about it. But it was one of those needy type of things. And like, really and truly in my mind, I was like, well, this is my time. This is my time for you. She can chill and hold herself together until you come back. Like that whole drop what you're doing and come now shit is really unfortunate. You know, it's not fair. It's not fair to the other partners who are trying to, because remember, the only thing that we have to work against us beyond everything else is time. We only have but so much time to spend with our loved ones, our family, our children, work, grandma, mom, everybody. We only have but 24 hours in a day. And so that's the only difficulty when it comes to polyamory, is how do you navigate time with all of what you got going on? And so when someone has their time with you and then the other partner is pulling them back, it becomes like, you know, a not cool situation. So
Like
yeah.
for me, I remember I dated this guy quickly. It was just a very quick thing, but he was with somebody before that felt like I was coming in and I should like know my position and like be the third and like basically follow her lead. She's like the queen of the castle kind of thing. And I was just like, girl, bye. So of course that didn't last because she started raising a lot of drama. And at my age, I have no room for drama. Where drama is, I exit left because I've worked hard to be in this space and I will not let anybody compromise my energy or anything that's going on with me. And then my experience with hierarchy, I can't say that I've had any bad experiences. I've dated several different married men, and um, some I've met their wives and have a casual conversations. We don't have to be besties all the time. I am very cool with Julie. I love her, and I know the feeling is mutual. But I've met other people. We just have casual conversations and just leave it at that. And other people I've never met, but it's kind of like, I know you there, I'm there kind of thing. And we just keep things moving. I haven't had a bad experience yet in that arena of hierarchy. And I've never had an instance where the wife is calling and be like, oh, you need to come. Unless somebody's dying, really, there's never that call, because they try to respect your time with the person, even though it's their living partner, their nesting partner, but they try to respect that time that you have with that person. So I can't really say, but also I think it goes with vetting as well, because you people say a lot. What they say, their actions, they will tell you a lot, and you will be able to pick up on cues as to if the veto power is there in their relationship. For people that don't know what veto is, it's like when you, like, let's say you married to somebody or you're living with somebody, your partner has the right to tell you, I don't want you to be with this person, I don't like her, just for whatever reason she or he decides, and then you have to break up with that person even though you don't want to break up with the person. So yes, you have to be able to vet that person very well. I don't date couples, I date an individual. So a lot of times people don't take the time to really investigate who they are dating, and then they end up in those situations where veto is an actual thing. But I have to say I am very lucky. I have not encountered that yet. And I'm sorry about your experience, Sky.
Well, yeah.
So let me say
So,
this,
go
because
ahead.
I've thrown the 26 years out, and that's valid, but that it's also about half the time that we spent as a polyamorous couple. We were monogamous prior to that, or however we want to look at it, in the years before we got married. So there, I think that you have to have a trust factor on whether or not you are going to be able to spend time, quality time with your partner, potential partner or with your wife and or whatnot. Um, I have not gotten that from my wife. I mean, there's little things here and there, and obviously, just as you said, if there's, we have children, we have a house, we have bills, but there are things that besides our boundaries between us that we have and things that we require from each other, we respect each other and have to trust in the people that they choose. So there's no vetoing there, like, oh, I don't like them. Well, I might get, you know, where I ask her, well, are you sure about this person? And he says, well, she's learning. I'm trying to find out, and I trust her. I know her well enough. I trust her, so I'm not going to say, "Mom, you can't see him. You can't see him." If I see something where I have an opinion, she respects my opinion, and then it's up to her to make up her own mind. And I've gotten that same respect from her. Obviously, if there's some issue that I feel supersedes the time that I'm going to spend with my partner because of a health issue or something that's really important, then then I'm going to have to delay the time that I'm going to be with somebody, and try not to make that a habit, because then my partner will have some decisions to make if they feel like they're a third wheel or anything, and I never want that to be the case when I'm with somebody. But the fact remains is that I do have someone that I've been with for a long time. It's the mother of my children, and she happens to live with me. And so down the line, we've talked loosely about when we were looking at some other property. One of a previous partner that I had, we thought of buying a place and her maybe cohabitating and moving in, and she had her own spot separately from downstairs with her own kitchen and bedroom and all that. But and who knows, maybe down the line, we might have something on that order. We might have a compound and everybody lives in the same acreage or whatever. But right now, no, I don't get that hierarchy pressure from my wife, and I don't try to put that on her as well.
I hear I'm hearing a lot internally, because this being fresh and being able to hear you and your experiences and everything.
Mm-hmm.
There's some dynamics that we just haven't had so far, and I welcome the information and the idea that there's even people that we can talk to, because part of this is because when I'm hearing you, this is I can't imagine that there weren't some fail forward experiences, along the way. There weren't some, this worked and that worked, this didn't work for me. And then getting past just those, things, like not saying I told you that wasn't going to work, or all of those different things. I felt that energy, and the person not feeling a certain way about trying to trying that out, trying someone out, listening to someone, having conversations, all of those things. Just, and as I listen to that, the learning the language, man, just being able, just what you just said, me too. That I heard something in there, and warm, I don't know which one is warm, I don't know which one is fuzzy, but Kevin,
Warm,
right then and there, because like that's some play on words, but at the same time, those roles may switch. I know they have to, because intimacy may turn into I want sex, and then you want intimacy, and then might want sex, but you want intimacy, and then the two can line up, but they don't have to. All of those things can happen, and and I reserve a right to be aware in the moment of, that's not what I need right now. Does that mean go over there with somebody else? Well, that's your decision, because it's a timing thing. It's like a lot of that is timing, and just having the choice and the freedom is what's most valuable. having that choice, having that freedom, having that option, not locked in, and now I got to stuff who I am or what I need or what I want, or try to extract it out of a unforgiving in an unforgiving way. Unforgiving to me. I'm
Right.
trying to extract it from somewhere where I can't get what I need, but I'm just gonna, I'm gonna settle. So that having that freedom, and then having it as a Kelly, you going to sleep or you frozen?
Oh,
So
she's okay.
yeah. Having that freedom is very important, and just like I said, and it not being from a judgmental place or a guilt-ridden place. Um, that's what I'm finding is important. So yeah,
I
I'm
kind
glad
of
we
want
are here for this.
to tag on to something or the energy of what you were saying. This lifestyle of being polyamorous and mon- the monogamous way of thinking, I think it's selfish for anyone to think that one person can provide you with everything
Mm-hmm.
that you need. And so
Yeah.
if that's what you're thinking
Yeah.
overall, then
Yeah.
you become unhappy with
Yeah.
that person because they
Mm-hmm.
don't want to go to the park because they don't like bugs and
Mm-hmm.
whatever it may be. But when
Yes.
you're polyamorous, there's this person that likes to go to the park. There's
Yeah.
this person that only likes to go to concerts in the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because you are in this lifestyle, each of
Mm-hmm.
those people can give you what it is that
Mm-hmm.
you need or what you're looking for, and to just want that from, nothing wrong with. I'm sure there's a lot of happy folks out there in the monogamous world, but I'm just
Nope.
saying.
For the ones that are suppressing
But
everything.
I'm just
No,
saying, I
they're
just think it's
telling them they're telling
unfair.
themselves they are.
You're unhappy, they're unhappy, so I'm not supposed to go to the concert outside because you don't want to go.
Right.
No, I'm gonna
You
go
know,
with
this
such
this
and such.
guy told me about marriage, monogamous marriage. He told me, he said there are some really great times, and then there are some really bad times. And he said for the most of it, it's just okay.
Mhm,
That's how he describes marriage,
mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
monogamously. And
Right.
I was like, that's so sad.
Wow.
Well,
I was
it
like, I feel
is.
so sorry for you. That
It
is sad.
is. Well, and that's an example I always take. Like Julie, like I love dancing. I love going out dancing. I grew up dancing Latin music, salsa, bachata, merengue. So I love going to a Latin club. Now I can dance anywhere, but that's my little thing. So what am I supposed to do when I have like a partner who does not enjoy that kind of environment? He likes to go, let's say, um, hunting, right? That's not my thing. I don't want to be outside. I'm a glamour girl kind of thing, even though I like the country life. I don't want to be outside where I'm uncomfortable like that. So, what are we supposed to do? Like, am I supposed to drag him to dancing and then he's going to sit in a corner and also probably pout about people asking me to dance? Because when you go to those environments, you don't have a wife, you don't have a husband, girlfriend, boyfriend. Everybody dances with everybody because the dancing means nothing. It's just fun. So
Right.
this person's gonna be there being miserable, right? Or is he just supposed, like, can he just stay home and enjoy his Netflix and chill, or he can go hunt with his buddies that I don't enjoy doing? Like, we can both be happy and still be happy together. But a lot of times, um, in our culture, they will tell you, well, you have to sacrifice, you have to compromise.
Mm-hmm.
Those are not the kind of compromises I want to make, because eventually I start resenting you for dragging me to hunting, and you
Yeah.
start resenting me for dragging you to the dancing,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's where the trouble starts. We start resenting each other, and before you know it, it's like a mountain of resentment, and then you can't get out from underneath it. So I just, nobody is ever going to be enough. You may choose to settle down for what this person has to offer you. You may choose that, okay, I'm okay with this part, I'm content with this part for now, but nobody will ever be enough. And you should never feel like you should be enough for somebody, because there is no such thing. We are not perfect creatures. And even the robotic stuff that they build are not even perfect, because as computers, they break down eventually. So nobody's perfect, and you will never be perfect and enough for anybody.
Word.
So,
Period.
Sounds like there's a certain amount of maturity that has to take place in order to be a part of polyamorous, and as opposed to living by default and giving someone else permission to just really violate,
Right.
traditionally violate our trust before I realize that this is who I am. It's like I'm looking for, in monogamy, I'm looking for to get something, all that I need out of one person. And initially, when we start dating, getting involved with each other, we see sometimes right away that what you may have right now, I've noticed, I'm waiting for you to come into your own, or people that invest a lot into someone expecting their investment to be the payoff for forever. It's like, now I put all this time,
Wow.
energy, money for forever, but it may have been a time period. And then you like, oh no, I didn't give you all this. I didn't did it. I'm giving you my life, everything else. And now you're gonna, now I built a bear, I built a whatever, and now you're gonna go here or go there. And all along, I'm putting all that energy, all that mental, emotional, spiritual, financial energy in one place, expecting a payoff. And sometimes you don't even
They
see.
hope that time would have changed you.
Right. And seeing all, like going into a room, you walk into the room backwards, looking for all the exits right
Right.
away.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? You walk, but you're telling yourself, I came through the front door, but you're looking for all the exits. And once I see all the exits, for myself or for you, then I know it's just a matter of time, but I'm going to put my all into it, but, so I see where the conversation, the people having, not only because a lot of time people love the idea of something, but not the practice.
Exactly. I mean, it really is part of our culture, right? When they have that whole saying that, I was hoping to turn a hoe into a wife, right? So it's kind of like they know what
Right,
they're doing going into that kind of relationship, but
right.
then that person did not change as they expected, and it's like now they're all mad, and it's like, you knew what you were choosing at the time. Why did you think you were, I don't know, a spiritual power that could change who that person was,
I had a friend of mine. He was going through some things with his wife, and he said, and he was starting to think about all the brothers he could call in order to get some insight, right? And as he mentioned different people, right? Because I knew the different people he was talking about. He said, "No, this person, they cheating on his wife. No, they doing this. No, they doing that." So he looked for this, and he called this brother that, it's like every day's strawberries and chocolate, as Kelly says a lot. It's like there's so many. It's like so wonderful all the time. And I realized that if I can't have a full range of emotions with a person, that something ain't right about that. You know what I'm saying? I have to be able to experience a full range of emotions. I got to be angry. I got to be loving. I got to be full. That makes us whole. To be able to navigate through all those different situations. And so, and when he said that, it made me feel like he didn't think he could say it, talk to me, and even basically, I didn't even ask him. I said, "Well, why you ain't call me?" Because he looks at my value system as something's flawed. It's not moral. It's not spiritual. It's not honest. And when I feel it's completely the opposite. It's all of those things. You know what I'm saying? So, based on our continued agreements and unfolding, because like this is another, we're definitely going to have some. If I can't see who's on here, but Kelly said, yeah, some people's on here. So and people that matter to us. We, that's the thing. It's not like we're hiding. we invited. So if they're not here, I don't know who's here. I don't know, and I love that I don't know who's here, and
Me too, honey. I'm glad I don't see
I
who's
don't
here
know
either.
who's here, who's not here. And so they did. I don't know who chimed in, who wrote a question, who gonna rate the red flags, blue flags, green flags.
One of the children here, though.
Yeah.
One of the children.
I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna be an onslaught of questions. They're gonna be like chats going back and forth, group chats, and did you know Daddy? Did you know Miss Kelly? You know, all of that. So we welcome it. You know, because
I welcome questions any day.
Yeah, we welcome it. You know, because it's just it's part of being real.
Yes. We have a comment here. I'm going to put it on the screen.
Wow.
I think we've been living this life most of my life. The only difference is if you're in a polygamous, everyone is honest and accepting of what's going on. Now, let me make a small correction adjustment. We are not polygamous. We are polyamorous. There is a difference.
There's a difference.
Because in polygamy, it's either you have the one man with multiple women, and those women are not allowed to have other relationships outside of that man. And then you can have a woman with multiple men, and those men are not allowed to have relationships outside of that woman. We are polyamorous, where everybody is equally open to to exploring and living their life for who they are. So that is a small difference. So we just wanted to make sure, because I know a lot of times people have the misconception, or they mix and match polygamy and polyamory, but they are very, very different.
Right.
Very, very, very.
We want to accentuate on the very.
Very. Please.
So, yeah, I think we've had a great conversation tonight. I mean, I love talking to my community, and especially with couples, because people don't believe that men actually,
You mean you let your woman go out and date other
right.
people?
You let her. Nobody lets
her?
anybody do anything.
You let her go and do that?
You know, and that's that thing about it's almost like, and I hate to say it, but I don't hate to say it. I'm gonna say it. It's like property management. You know what I mean? And when you put that out there like that, do I want to be managed? Do I want to be someone's property? And sometimes I've heard this, that of myself, I don't trust myself. You know, that's the problem. Some people really don't trust themselves to make those kind of decisions. And it's got to be based on something that someone else did to me or is not doing for me that allows me to now make other decisions. When and that's not coming from a very
healthy place,
because then I can blame that very thing, the very thing that drove me there. You know what I'm saying? I can blame
because we don't want accountability. We always want somebody or something to blame our shortcomings or our mistakes or our, whatever it is on. We don't want it to be on us, because it's never our fault.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Very healthy.
Yes.
Well, y'all, I think we should shut it down.
It's been real. Thank you so much, Sky, and me too. Again, I appreciate you all for having us on, and it's nice meeting you all, Julie and Kevin.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Nice meeting you all. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Nice to meet you guys. We are the Poly Pimps. Yes, please follow our pages, Sky Juice and Poly Haitian Hottie here. And please keep sharing the lives. Even after they're done, you can share it with somebody you think could benefit from our information, because we are the Poly Pimps, and we are making sure everybody is informed on choices. Now, monogamy is a choice, and it's fine to make that choice if you make it fully and with full consent, but don't make it as a default. Because at that point, it's not a choice anymore. So be aware, be educated, and that's what we're here for. We're here to answer any questions. You can always message us anytime. We're here for you. Our next podcast will be on July 5th. So you guys will still be lit from July 4th. It'll be on July 5th. So please join us for another great episode. And you can always send us suggestions or questions that you have, and we could turn it into an episode for you. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you, Kelly. Nice to meet you. Thank you, Abdullah. It's so good to see you again. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julie and Kevin, for being here, Woman Fuzzy. Sky, I know you came on late, but it was so good to finally have you.
This was as good. This was as good as the Yaba pie.
What is that? I'm like, there's a cultural differences here. So
that was my restaurant in Baltimore years ago.
Okay. Sky's holding out on us, so we need we need like a poly
sounds like there's some familiarity
together. Yes, we want some food from Sky. We're gonna start protesting. We want food from Sky. So
we can do that.
We'll have a poly event and have some food from you.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you. You guys have a great night, and see you on July 5th.
All right.
Peace.
Thank you. Peace.
Deuces.